No, there were no Reformed Jews. There was no such thing. You were Jewish and you followed the law, or you were ostracized from the people. There's no such thing as a Reformed Jew. There wouldn't have been anybody more Orthodox than Jesus. He was a rabbi, by the way. There would have been no one more Orthodox than him. There's never been anyone in history that kept the law perfectly, but Jesus did. He wouldn't have been Reformed at all. Absolutely not. He spoke in the synagogue. He taught in the synagogue. Look at Luke chapter 4. They went to put him to death because when he spoke in the synagogue, he read from Isaiah. He read from the scroll of Isaiah. And he read the description of the Messiah. And he said at the end of that reading, today this has been fulfilled in your hearing. And they knew that he was pointing to himself. He is the fulfillment of it. Who do you think you are? What do you mean he's the fulfillment? And they picked up stones to stone him because they knew who he was claiming to be. You can't get more Orthodox than Jesus. Paul said he was born under the law. He was a Jew. Paul calls himself a Hebrew of the Hebrews. But Jesus was more. My goodness, he had no sin in him. He kept the law perfectly. The Mosaic covenant, by the way, was temporary and conditional. The Mosaic covenant was what God gave 500 years after the Abrahamic covenant. Abrahamic covenant is irrevocable. That's God's covenant with his people, which God made, and no man can change. The Mosaic covenant was given when they crossed out of Egypt through the sea and stood at the foot of Mount Sinai. God came, gave them the Ten Commandments, and then gave them the whole book of Leviticus through Moses at the foot of Messiah, at the foot of Mount Sinai. And the book of Leviticus says, Exodus 20 says, here's the commandments. Leviticus says, here's how to live them out. You see, and they were conditional. They were the law. The Ten Commandments is the law of men's heart written on stone. That's all. That's why Apostle Paul can say the Gentiles who don't have the law, they do the things of the law. Why? Because the law of God is written in the heart of man. They'll get to heaven before you Jews because you have the law and you don't keep it. The Gentiles don't have it, and yet they live by the law of God in their heart. You see, because it's written in our heart. The Ten Commandments took the law and put it on stone. God did. And then taught Israel how to live it out, and that's the book of Leviticus. It was a conditional covenant. It meant, here's the law. If you obey me, I will bless you. The end of the Torah, Deuteronomy chapter 28. If you disobey me, I will curse you. And God fulfilled everything he said. Everything he said in the Torah, including his prophet, his promise to Moses, said there would be a prophet like him, but greater than him, who would be the Messiah. So everything is there in the Mosaic law. Again, Apostle Paul says, Galatians chapter 3, verse 24, the law was our schoolmaster to lead us to Christ. When the law comes, we don't need. When you have a sign, the sign leads you to the fulfillment, right? You're in Stockton, you see a sign 50 miles to Stockton. When you get to Stockton, you don't need the sign anymore because you've arrived. The law was our schoolmaster to lead us to Christ. It was our tutor. It pointed us to Christ, who was its fulfillment. And when Jesus fulfilled the law, every single dot and tittle of it, when he fulfilled the law, there was no more Mosaic law because he was its fulfillment. He was the Lamb of lambs. He did what no Old Testament lamb or bull or goat could do. You see, and the Mosaic law was abolished not because it was done away with, but because it was fulfilled in Christ. The Abrahamic covenant, read Romans chapters 9 through 11, will never be abolished. Its promises are irrevocable. So, Abby, we're coming up against the break, dear one. We've got other calls waiting. So God bless you.